Hello. My name is Eirelyn. Welcome to my channel. Today, I wanted to do a little sit-down video, which I haven't done in a while, because I wanted to talk about how to get into reading, which I feel like a lot of people might be trying to do this year, if you hadn't did it last year. So I wanted to give like a little step-by-step guide that I think will make it easier and help people to get into reading. And yeah, I have a little step-by-step on my phone to help guide me because I know I will ramble on. But before I really get into that, if you hear the wind, it is extremely windy out today. Like, the skyways have been closed. It is. So if you hear any whooshing and whan, that's outside. But let's get into these steps of how to read. Well, I hope you know how to read, but how to get into reading as an adult. Okay, so the first step, and what I think is the most important step, especially if you are getting into reading through Book Talk and somehow ended up on that side of TikTok and was like, oh, reading sounds fun. There will be a lot of pressure. People will probably try and be like, you're reading too little, and then also be like, you've read way too much, how did you do that? Don't feel pressure. Read what you want to read. Set the goals that you want to set that are attainable to you and your lifestyle and how you live. You do you, is basically what I'm trying to say, and don't let anybody pressure you into doing anything. You don't have to set a goal, but if you're wanting to set a goal for this year, ideally it would make the most sense to set a 12 book goal, because I think that would be attainable for somebody who has not read a lot since like high school or even elementary school and is wanting to get back into reading. So you read one book a month. And I know we're halfway through January by the time this video goes up. For me, I'm still in 2025. But I think that is an attainable goal, especially if you have a busy lifestyle and you can read at night and finish a book within a month. I think that is very attainable if you are feeling the pressure of setting a goal. But I've also seen people set like one book goal for a year, and then it makes it so much easier because they read one book and then they can just read and there's no pressure at all. So if you are wanting to track your books and read your books, then just no pressure. You do you. Don't listen to what anybody says. Read what you want to read. Step 2, which can technically also be interchanged with step 3, is the format of your reading choice. So there's 3 formats, in my opinion. There's physical, audio, and ebook. If you're choosing ebook, I would pick this route if you're wanting to like detox a bit from social media, but are still kind of having that phone addiction. Because if you own an iPhone like me, there's something called Apple Books. And you can read books on your phone. So if you're wanting to still be on your phone, but are wanting to create more of a habit of reading, there you go. Shameless plug. My books are ebooks and you can get them on that from my website. You can download them onto your phone. But ebooks are a good way, and then it kind of helps you get off social media, but if you still want that feeling of like scrolling, ebooks. The second form of media is the audiobooks, which I've kind of dipped more in this year, and that I think is a good one for multitasking, for if you have a very busy life and you need to cook and clean and you want to do other hobbies that you have at the same time. Audiobooks, they're perfect for it. It's great. And then my preferred choice, which is physical media, so paperbacks or hardcovers. I prefer hardcovers. And I like those ones because I like the flip of the pages and I like seeing them all on my shelves, and I personally I enjoy sitting and taking that time to focus on reading. Whereas if I do want to do other things, I will use an audiobook, or I will, if I find my brain is reading the book slower than I want, I'll play the audiobook while I'm also reading the book at a faster speed than my brain goes. So then I can get through it faster. But pick your format, and once you pick your format, you can go into step 3, or you can pick your format after step 3, which is finding your genre. And these are the 3 most important ones. But finding your genre. So this, I have like a few ideas of how you can find the genre. The first one is looking at the books you enjoyed as a kid and maybe rereading those, or finding a young adult or adult book that is similar in vibes to that book, so you can easily just transfer that and being like, I like this format and I remember enjoying this as a kid. I want this format, but in an adult version. The second one is to look at the TV shows and movies that you enjoy. There are a lot of TV shows and movies that you wouldn't think are book adaptations, so you can always read the book for a show or movie that you really like. Or I can guarantee you can look up either on Instagram or TikTok, show books that are similar to this show or books that are similar to this movie, and a bunch of books will pop up. And that's a great intro point of being like, I like these things, I like this, give me a book. Or you can look at just the genres and formats of shows and movies that you like and find a book in that genre and just be like, I'm gonna try it. The third suggestion is starting with either romance or mystery. And why I suggested this personally is because if you in the future want to branch off into any other genres, romance or mystery will be a part of any book. As an example, in fantasy, the mystery will just be framed as a quest, and there will be foreshadowing and big reveals, which happens in mysteries. There's foreshadowing and big reveals. So I think mystery is the greatest place to start. But romance is also good because there's gonna, for the most part, be even if it's subplot, a romantic story. There's very few books that I have read that haven't had romance in it, and even if it hasn't, it's like the most minuscule. Like the one that I'm thinking of is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson, and the romance, it wasn't like a central point to the plot, but it still was there, but it wasn't like you didn't need it. Like the book would have been fine if it wasn't there, right? But I feel like so many books want that romance and so many people want the romance, so it's there if you want it. So those are my two genre suggestions if you're still stuck and you do not know which genre to go into. I forgot I wrote a fourth step. There's a fourth step, guys. Do not force yourself to read a book just because it is popular, especially if you know you will not enjoy the book. I have seen in this past year so many reviews on books that say, I'm no longer trusting book talk. And personally, that enrages me a little bit. Because if you instinctively know you won't like a book. And if you're just buying it because it's popular, and you're like, everybody likes it, so I have to like it. That's not fair to you. That's not fair because it's like, why would you read a book you don't like? You're putting in time to a book that you have no interest in just because other people like it. And that's not fun. But if you did think you would enjoy the book, but end up reading it and not liking it, it's okay to DNF. You do not have to finish that book, but I wouldn't blame book talk for it because that's just you. And you're allowed to not like a book when all these other people who are recommending it love it because it's loved for a reason. But it is okay to not enjoy something that other people enjoy. I follow a lot of booktubers and book talkers and even some people on Instagram that talk about books. And there are books that they love that I don't like, and books that I love and they don't like, and books that we both love and books that we both hate. And that's okay because we have all lived different experiences, and those are all going to color our lenses when we read books to how we enjoy them and how our own self is reflected in the books. Personally, for me, every book that I read, I always see myself as the main character. That's just how my brain reads books. And then I pick the love interest and it's my boyfriend. That's just how I read. But other people most likely don't do that. So, and everybody also reads differently. Like, I see the book in my head. Like, I see a movie, and some people just see the words. But what I'm trying to say is, if somebody doesn't like a book that you love, that's okay. And if you don't like a book that somebody loves, that's okay. Because reading is subjective. Do I like self-help books and memoirs and all these things? No. But they exist because somebody does. Okay? So, that's that. So to recap, don't put pressure on yourself with goals. Don't let people pressure you to read things or anything. Find the format of book that works best for you. I didn't really mention getting books from the library, but you can get all those formats of books from the library. There's apps that you can use. I think Libby's one of them. I've never tried it, but I've heard a lot about it. The genre is Another thing important, find the genre that works best for you, that you enjoy the most, and then when you're comfortable, branch off into other genres. Only if you are comfortable though, okay? And then don't worry about what other people are reading, just worry about what you're reading. Be proud of yourself and what you accomplish, and that's all that matters, is being proud of yourself. I was so proud of my reading goals last year, and do I know if I'll be able to do it again this year? I don't know, because I put a lot of pressure on myself to finish last year, but that was my own pressure and nobody's else's. And so if you're not liking the pressure that you're putting on yourself, don't put the pressure on yourself, and don't let other people put the pressure on yourself to read. If you just want to get into reading, just get into reading. It is not stressful. It's supposed to be enjoyable and relaxing and cozy and fun, and that's what it should be. Don't let anybody on the internet tell you otherwise, because it should be an amazing and enjoyable experience. If you are wanting to track your books, I do suggest Storygraph or Fable. I think those ones have the best stat information. I know I personally like to see all the stats and see what I read each month, and Storygraph has the moods and the pages read each day, and I personally enjoy that. And you can see my reading journal setup. That was my last video for 2026, that I like to track and see information and learn stuff about the books I read. So that's just me. And Fable has a little bit of that, but it's a little less, but it also has movies and TV shows on there that I believe that you can track when watching those. So if you enjoy movies and TV as well and you're wanting to get into books, I think that's a great app because you can track all of it on there. And if you don't, for all of this, have any idea where to start, I do have a bunch of reading vlogs that you can go and check. I'll mention which ones are spoiler free and which ones aren't in the video or on the thumbnail. So if you're wanting to be what's the vibes of these books, you can go and check those out if you would like. I also have my own books, so if you are wanting to check any of those out, you can see the link in my description for my website. They're all YA, so young adult, but I've had no young adult readers, and all of them have been my grandma, her friends, and my mom. So, but yeah, they're great. I think so. So if you are wanting to start with something that I find to be very fast-paced reads and very enticing, go and check those out. And if you already have a book picked out for this year, but you haven't started it, or you have started it, or you've already read a book for this year, and maybe this isn't your first time reading since you were a kid or anything like that, I would love to hear about all the books that everybody's reading so far in 2026. So please let me know in the comments. I would love to just talk about books. And yeah, have a great reading year. Don't put pressure on yourself, whether you are a new reader or not, and enjoy. All I'll say. That's the video. Goodbye. Subscribe for more. I will see you all in my January reading vlog, which I hope is going well because I haven't filmed it yet because I'm still in December. Bye.